The new Echo's episodic auto rifle, the Veiled Threat, is a friggin' weird little goblin of an AR. This thing is extremely unconventional in a lot of ways, so forget everything you think you know about auto rifles and what makes them good or unique. The Veiled Threat is taking a whole new approach to what an auto rifle can do for you. In this video, I'm going to break down this weapon for you. Honestly, getting these things is so easy just by playing the new seasonal activity with the Nessus 3-man activity and collecting the Radiolarian samples while you do it. I went from having 0 of these to being able to craft it in a single sitting. But let's dive into this review so you know what to expect from this thing. I'm going to cover both PvE and PvP today. Something new for me. Let's lay the groundwork here. The Veiled Threat is a Stasis rapid-fire frame auto rifle. So same family as the Chroma Rush, for example. It actually has quite similar stats to the Chroma Rush, very similar. The Veiled Threat has almost half a meter more range than the Chroma Rush does, but at base it has a little less stability. It has good handling, good reload speeds, mediocre aim assist, and an absolutely abysmal recoil direction of 45, same as the Chroma Rush does. I highly recommend bringing that up to 75, by the way, with Arrowhead Break. I highly discourage you from taking it up to 90, which pulls horribly to the left. 75 is the sweet spot there. It's mostly vertical. Now let's swap gears, chat about the perk pool, because this is where the Veiled Threat really deviates from the standard in a big way. So the Veiled Threat, it does not have almost all of the perks people usually want on an auto rifle, like Zen Moment, missing. Tap the trigger, gone. Dynamic sway reduction, nowhere in sight. So kill clip, also missing. I mean, all the things that people usually gravitate towards for an auto rifle, especially in PvP, not represented here in the perk pool. But what the Veiled Threat does bring to the table is insane build synergy with Stasis. So in the first column, we've got Threat Detector, which only kicks in if the target is within 15 meters. We've got Fragile Focus, which helps extend the range by 20 if your shield is intact. We've got Attrition Orbs, which I think is a hard pass. Shoot to Loot, which is great on primaries and PvE, but unfortunately, this thing has like 0 range, so it's harder to use Shoot to Loot to grab things that are far away unless you're on mouse and keyboard specifically. Then we've got the new perk To the Pain, which is good on some weapons. I don't recommend it on this thing though. But the last 2 perks here, these are the ones that are super interesting to me. We've got Loose Change, which, I mean, I know people just like, that's a throwaway perk. It's not on this, okay? Surprisingly, not a bad choice here. Applying an elemental debuff to a target gives you plus 20 aim assist and plus 20 reload speed, as well as 20% decrease to the ADS penalty for movement for 4.5 seconds. So that takes you to 92 aim assist for a bit. Very good when paired with the Osmiomancy Gloves for the Warlock in PvP, Bacchus Hunter in PvE, Renewal Grasps in PvE. But the last perk in the first column, this is the one that I really latched onto. So this gun kicks like crazy. It's like a rabid little red-headed stepchild who got into the pantry unsupervised. But the perk Strategist. It does 2 things for you. First, it makes it so that using your class ability gives you a stability buff for several seconds. So if you were to use your Bacchus dodge or your slowing dodge ability in general on the hunter, you can now beam the person that you just slowed. But it's also going to grant you class ability energy on each final blow. So in PvE, this stacks up very quickly to make sure I've got dodges ready to go whenever I need them. In PvP, the primary utility is to give me much more stability for my weapon after I use my Bacchus dodge. So in the first column, my winner here is Strategist with Loose Change in a close second. In the second column, we've got Headstone, Precision Kills spawn a Stasis Crystal. We've got Desperate Measures, which gives 10% extra damage after a final blow, 20% after a melee or grenade final blow, and 30% more damage after a second grenade or melee final blow. Not bad for PvE kill chaining. Next is Encore. I usually love this perk, but since this isn't a raw dueler, this isn't the weapon for Encore in my opinion, so I would pass on it. Then we've got Surrounded. Honestly, not too bad for PvE content, for ad clearing, but still not my top pick. Collective Action, which is a hard pass for me. There are better damage buffs on the table with easier activation requirements, so that's a pass. Then we've got Moving Target, which again, this isn't a dueler. It's not a dueler, so I'm going to pass on it. And then Gut Shot Straight, which is not a terrible call since the thing does kick like crazy anyways. May as well get more body shot damage. But my recommendation here is Headstone. By and far, Headstone. If you're full sending on the Stasis build synergy, which you should be with this gun because it's absolute trash at just raw dueling, then Headstone is definitely the play. So pop on the Whisper of Shards so you can get grenade energy more quickly when breaking crystals, as well as Whisper of Fissures for bigger stasis booms and damage when destroying a crystal. Hey, and you've got yourself the beginnings of a nice little build going on. The last thing we need to know is the origin trait Radiolaria Transposer. So, rapid final blows cause targets to explode in a pool of radiolarian fluid. This happens on double kills in PvP, so it happens, a few times a match, more if you're fragging out. In PvE, it happens a lot. This gun is good for ad clearing, so you're going to be making lots of pools of damaging goo. Honestly, pretty fun origin trait. So now that we have covered the perk pool, let me share with you how I crafted mine and why. So I landed on Arrowhead Break to bring the recoil direction to 75, which is ideal on this thing. We've got accurized rounds for additional range, a stability masterwork since it kicks hard, and then enhanced strategist and enhanced headstone. So enhanced strategist, we think it gives a boost of 20 stability. At least that's the prevailing theory right now. It might be 15, but we don't know for sure yet. More testing is required. And enhanced headstone does give you a passive +5 stability boost. So it's nice to have on a gun like this. Now let's talk applications. In PvE, this gun worked great for me. And I don't mean in strikes and patrols. And a lot of times people are like, oh, this gun's really good in PvE. Here's me shooting a drag with it. No, I mean, I use this thing from start to finish in a complete clear of the new Salvation's Edge raid. Endgame PvE content. There's a lot of ad clearing in this raid and all encounters, so I used it in every one of them. I coupled it with my Renewal Grasps build so that I could do slowing dodges and then burn ads with the primary, which then procs the artifact mod this season called Creeping Chill, which then causes a large AoE of slowing explosion damage at the target's location, slowing even more enemies. I'm making crystals with precision kills. I'm shattering those crystals as well to get more grenade energy, to throw more dusk fields, to get more damage resistance while also getting my dodge energy back quickly. So it's a nasty loop. I had zero trouble soloing my personal room in the Verity encounter, for example, just keeping ice all over the battlefield, locking everything down. It was super fun. I highly recommend this setup if you're a hunter in PvE and want something that will keep you alive in hectic situations. And now let's chat PvP specifically. So like I noted earlier, this gun is not a raw dueler. I mean, if you have good recoil control, you can stand toe-to-toe with a Kvastov and trade with them straight up, no problem. But if you're like 25 meters out, then this thing may as well be a fire hose. It will not comply. It's like a Charizard that will not obey. But this thing is definitely a stasis brawler. Up close and personal brawler. I mean, lay your traps, toss your dusk fields, backwards dodge near enemies, and start chaining your buffs and your debuffs, and you're going to mess some people up. It's like guerrilla warfare. You're going to be playing like an absolute a-hole. Slow people, freeze people, break crystals to prime targets, hide behind crystals for cover, leave radiolarian fluid on the floor for them to step in. It's super funny. I've got hundreds of kills on this thing in PvP now, just being a rat bastard. It's really fun. Ultimately, how good this weapon performs depends entirely on the way you build your kit. If you build around the gun, there are lots of doors that will open up for you. Debuffs, buffs, ability cooldown changes, etc. But if you treat it as a raw dueler, it's gonna let you down because that's not what it is. So get creative, have some fun with it. That's my advice for you. The one biggest drawback of this weapon, though, is undoubtedly the fact that it is absolutely massive. It covers your screen. You can't see jack friggin' crap with this thing. Your own mother, huge as she is, could be swinging a shovel at a carnival clown right in front of you. You wouldn't see a dang thing. Even ADSing with this thing covers too much of your peripherals. I sometimes actually aim down the sights and then I aim to the side of where I want to see, just so I can see the corner. Then I'll wait for something to come around the corner. Then I snap the reticle over to the target. It's awful. They really got to do something about it, or most people, they just won't give this thing a chance. Overall, I'd say this weapon has a lot of potential, but it's up to you to make the most of it. It's going to force you to think about your build, not just equip and profit, but I hope you do take the time to play around with it because this weapon is actually pretty cool, and I like it a lot in both PvE and in PvP. And that is the review. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, would you let me know by leaving a like on it, as that's the best free way to support the content here on YouTube, and consider subscribing for additional Destiny 2 content. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible. Or the Pale Heart. I'm going to be starting up Raid Sherpa streams in a little over a week, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter or Twitch for more details. Links in the description to those. Bye-bye.